Hello and welcome to episode 42 of my podcast all about knitting and crochet and my yarn shop here in Wiesbaden. I'm Kiko and today is March 2nd, 2020. Today I'm wearing a shawl that was designed by Romy. Her name's Rosemary Hill and she's one of my all-time favorite designers on Ravelry. And this is the shawl called Taygete. Not quite sure how to pronounce that. It was from her first year of designing 7 small shawls, and and I've loved her small shawls ebooks from the very beginning, and I have all but one. One year she worked together with American yarn dyers, which I thought was a great idea, but it's just too expensive to get hand-dyed yarn from the US to Germany. So I didn't buy that ebook, but I have all her other ebooks for small shawls. So that's one of my favorite shawls as well. The yarn is by Regia and it's called Hand Dye Effect. And I used 2 different colors. One is this dark blue purple color, and then this light minty green colored yarn. And then the first part of the shawl, you just knit these stripes, garter stripes, and then you add the lace bit. And the beads in this shawl are not in the pattern, but when I looked through the projects on Ravelry, I saw one shawl that had these beads right in between those 2 parts of the shawl, and I loved the idea. So that's what I did. So that's today's shawl, and today's jacket is an adult surprise jacket by Elizabeth Zimmerman. I'm sure most of you have heard of the baby surprise jacket, and this is the adult version. And the yarn I used is called Regato by Wolldackel, and it's a yarn I like knitting with a lot, and because it makes these stripes, it shows the very unique construction of the jacket. So as you can see, the stripes go this way on the back, but they go this way on the front. And in fact, these shoulder seams are the only 2 seams that you have to sew with this jacket. Everything else is knit in one piece. And as you can also see, this jacket is quite old and I've worn it a lot. It's fairly long, but yeah, I really like that. The instructions for the adult version say that you can pick up stitches around the sleeves and make a long sleeve version, but I quite like the short sleeves because it means I can change things up a bit. I can wear wrist warmers to go with the jacket, or I can just wear it like this, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. And another special thing about the jacket is the buttons that I have. These are real stones. These are pebbles that this company, they managed to drill holes into these stones without breaking them, and then you can wear them, you can use them as buttons. They're fairly heavy, but because the yarn is quite heavy as well, it works. Doesn't pull on it too much, and yeah, I like it. So they all look a little different because they are naturally formed. Yeah. I like him a lot. Yeah, so that's what I'm wearing today. On to finished objects. I have, again, one finished object, and again, it's a pair of socks, and again, it's a pair of green socks. So I finished the second pair of green socks I was working on. It's the ones with the hats. The garter stitch hats knit into them. They are done, the design was designed by a well-known German designer, as I already said last week. And yeah, and I took part in this competition where you can win sock blockers, and you had to send in a picture of your green hat socks until February 29th. So that was the day before yesterday, and that's the day that I sent in my picture. But I was just in time, and we'll see whether I've won or not. But anyway, I'm very happy I knit these socks, and I'm going to donate them to this organization that help women with ovarian cancer. So that's what these socks are for. That's the only finished object. I have worked on quite a few of my works in progresses, but not on all of them. Usually I try to make sure I work on most of the things I'm working on, or maybe all of them if I can manage. But sometimes that just doesn't work. Sometimes I focus on one project that I really want to either finish or just get on. And sometimes I just forget about a project. And this week I was, for some reason, I always picked up the little projects. So I mostly knit on the smaller projects, and I didn't really knit on the bigger ones. So I did not knit on the memory blanket, and I did not knit on the fingerless mitts, even though that's a small project. But I think for some reason I didn't feel like knitting something so dark this week, and with the dark yarn and the mohair, it's really hard to see the stitches. And so maybe if the weather improves and I have a little more light, I'll feel like knitting them on this week. We'll see. But anyway, to show you what I did knit, I continued knitting on the stocking that I'm knitting with the yarn held double and the glittery yarn, and I almost finished it. So there's only a few more rounds, and then the toe, and then this will be done. And then the first pair will be finished, and I'll only have to do the second stocking of the second pair. And let's see, which other socks did I work on? I worked on the Wolldackel yarn sock that I have shown you before. It's this orange grey yarn, and I knit past the point where I want to put the heel in later, so you can see that this is now all stockinette, because this is going to be the sole of the foot, and this is the upper part. And what you cannot really see very well is the waist yarn I put in to show where the heel is supposed to go, and you can only tell by these few colorful stitches that's the waist yarn I put in. I used the yarn that I'm using for my gnome because I had that sitting right next to me, and I was just too lazy to get up and find a yarn that has a bigger contrast. So I just used that yarn to put in these. I knit these stitches, and I went back and I knit the same stitches with the working yarn. So when it's time to knit the afterthought heel, I will just undo this waist yarn and pick up the stitches below and above, and then I can knit the afterthought heel. Yeah, so that was not very clever of me, but I'm sure I'll manage and I'll get the heel in eventually. Yeah, then I continue knitting on my Rocksolid socks. I'm knitting these in the Lots of Socks knit along, and I plan to wear them on March 21st when it's International Down Syndrome Day. And I'm very happy I've finished the first sock, and I just love the way it looks. And I started knitting the second one, and I finished the blue bit. So the goal was to have 2 different socks, so that's why I'm reversing the order of the colors. So I start with the blue. Now that the green socks are done, I can put in the green bit, and then the yellow will be again at the heel, and then I'll have orange and pink down on my foot. And yeah, I'm looking forward to having these socks a lot. And the pattern is absolutely great. Rocksolid socks. Yeah. Make sure you get the pattern if you like it as much as I do. So I knit on that, and then I knit the sock with the cotton yarn. That's Opal Cotton Premium. And I'm knitting a pattern that I kind of made up myself. It's not new. I mean, it's probably in lots of books, but yeah, I didn't have any book with me, so I just put some stitches together, and I really like it. So I've knit the heel, and now I have to knit the foot and the toe. Yeah, very happy with how that's coming along, and I like the colors, and I think it's going to be a very nice spring sock. Yeah, so that's all the socks I'm knitting at the moment. I put a few rows on my Känguruh by Stephen West. So this is going to be a pair of shorts or trousers, whatever you like to call them. This is the second piece I'm knitting. I've finished the first one. This is the second, and once I've done that, I can add the top, and then I have to knit a strip that connects the front and the back. It's really difficult to explain. If you want to have a look at what the trousers look like, you can go on my Ravelry page and click through to the original, and you can see pictures. And yeah, it's a rather unique construction. I'll show you when I'm knitting it. I'll let you know what it looks like and how it works. So that's that. Then I continue knitting on my gnome, as I already said. That's the third mystery gnome by Sarah Shearer from Imagine Landscape. And if any of you do not want to know what it looks like because you're still knitting the clues and you don't want to see pictures, then please look away now because I'm showing mine now. So this is my gnome through clue 8. So we finished the bottom, and so far this is the only bit with color 3. And I've done clue 9, but the instructions didn't say how to attach things yet. So we've got 2 gnome arms. They'll have to be attached somehow. And this is the nose. So that's quite funny, and yeah, can't wait to see how it all comes together. That's very funny. I'm not showing pieces anymore, so if you were looking away, you can look back to the screen now. And yeah, so then the last 2 clues are due today and tomorrow. So by next week, the gnome will be finished, and I'm not quite sure when the big reveal is going to be, but I guess by next week, Monday, everybody will know what the gnome looks like, so I can show you the finished thing, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Yeah, so that's the gnome. The yarn that I used is another color by Wolldackel, the German hand dyer that I also use for the orange and gray socks, and I ordered more yarn from them and I got new colors, and I'll show you the colors that I got in a few minutes. But first I'll show you the 2 knit-alongs I'm knitting at the moment, and one of them is the Raglano pullover. That's a knit-along that's happening on my channel and in my Ravelry group, and I finally remembered to check, and the instructions, you can get the pattern in English as well as in German. So it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's available in English and in German. And this is what it looks like. For my pullover, I'm using Opal DK sock yarn in a beautiful blue color. And I'd finished the first sleeve last week, I think. And I had started the second sleeve, and I've knit the second sleeve down to where the pattern starts. And then I stopped and knit something else. So I have to knit this much on the second sleeve to finish the sleeve, and then I have to think about how to do the increases, the hip increases on the front and back, and I have to make a decision when to start the pattern there, and I'll have to calculate the numbers a bit to make sure that I have enough stitches for how many repeats I want. So there's a bit of work still, a bit of thought to be put into that pullover before I can continue knitting. And the other knit along I'm doing is for the Hitomi cardigan, a Japanese instruction for a cardigan that you can knit completely in one piece, and I've only knit very little on that. So this is how far I got. This is going to be both sleeves and the back, part of the back, and I have to knit until it's high enough to go around my upper arm. So there's quite a bit still to be done. I've now knit 4 pattern repeats, so not a lot has happened since last week. I'll try and concentrate a bit more on it this week. But the yarn is Wollmeise lace, and it's a 300-gram ball, so this should be enough to do the whole jacket. And because of the special construction of the jacket, I can knit the whole thing in one go, and I will only have to weave in 2 ends, the beginning and the end. And yeah, that's one of the things that makes it so special, makes this pattern so special. So that's my Hitofude. And now I'm going to show you the new colors that I got from Wolldackel. I'm not quite sure whether they sent their yarn abroad, but if you ask them, if you write to them, I'm sure you can find out. I linked to their shop in my show notes underneath the video, so if there's any colors that you'd be interested in, you can go ahead and try and order the yarn. So they have several different bases that they dye on, and I think one special technique that they use, which I haven't ordered. Oh yeah, I have ordered it this time, but it's a color that I had before, so I'm not showing it today. Today I'm showing you 2 colors on their classic extra fine, which is a merino yarn with 75% merino and 25 polyamide. And then they have their normal sock base, and they have one base with a glitter glitter yarn in it. I'll show you in a minute. So this is the first color. This is Blaue Lagune, which is Blue Lagoon. And this is what the yarn looks like. Can't think today. Like this. And I've also wound it into a ball, and then it looks like this. And it always fascinates me how different the colors can look. I mean, this is all blue, so it doesn't look that different. It'll be more obvious with the other colors. But this is a very, very, very beautiful blue. And I might want to knit something with it at some point. I don't know yet. The other color that I got on the extra fine is called Dornröschen. And that's a fairy tale character. Let me think. I should know the English name. I can't think of it. If I remember, I'll let you know next week. But right now I can't remember. But it's a very nice green, different greens with a bit of pink. And this is what it looks like in a ball. A skein of yarn and a ball of yarn. That's the word. So this is this color. Yep. And then we have several colors that clearly tell that I made the decisions when ordering this yarn. Sometimes I order yarn because customers ask for it or friends ask for it, but sometimes it's me making the decisions, and very often you can tell because all my favorite colors come together and then it looks like I ordered it all for myself. There's one exception this time. So this, the next colors are all the classic sock yarn base that they use. This color is called Kensington, and it's pinks and blues, and it's just beautiful. And this is what it looks like wound into a ball. And then we have this color, which is quite similar. It's called Kew Gardens, and I had Kew Gardens the last time I ordered it as I think it's called Tornado, where they sort of mix the colors in the yarn as well as, I don't know how they do it, but it's more mixed up. So this is Kensington, not in a tornado, Kew Gardens without the tornado, and it's as well pink and blue, but it has some green and it has more white than the Kensington. But still, I think they would go together really nicely. You could knit some sort of fade or combine them in some other way. Kew Gardens in a ball, wound in a ball, looks like this. Then we have Boyfriend. Yep. So that's white and blue, another blue. So that will really look nice with the blue lagoon if you were to combine colors. And that's boyfriend wound in a ball. Love it. Then we have, okay, now we have the, what's it called? Glamour. Glamour is with the shiny bit. And the color is called Power. So it's Power Glamour. And I really love the strong colors in here. And this is what it looks wound in a ball. This is one of the ones where I think it looks very different. And it probably looks completely different again when you start knitting with it. So that's Power. And then we have a color that I did order for a friend of mine. So it's not quite my colors, but it's still very beautiful. And it's called Tante Trude, which means Auntie Trude, which is a very funny name. And it's these beautiful, it's a softer pink and a lilac kind of color. And this is what it looks wound in a ball. So yeah, I have several customers and friends who are really interested in that color. So I hope to be able to see what it knits up like quite soon. And the last color I'm showing you that I ordered is this beautiful bright pink. It's called World of Fuchsia. And yeah, I love it. It's, I don't know how bright it comes across, but it's, yeah, I think it's that bright. This is what it looks like wound into a ball. And this is what it looks like knit up. Because this is the color that I chose to start knitting with. And I'm not knitting socks, as you can see. I'm knitting a shawl. And yeah, I really like the way the colors come together. So yeah, just show you all three in one picture. Oops. Yeah, love it. And this shawl is another shawl designed by Romy, the designer who designed the shawl that I wore until a few minutes ago. And it's from her book, New Lace Knitting. It's a wonderful book. I think it's as far as I know, it's the only book that she's made so far. All her other patterns you can get through Ravelry. But this is you can probably get those patterns from the book as well on Ravelry, but you can also get them as a book, which I really like a lot because I love books. So the shawl that I'm knitting is called Crystal Bay, and this is what it looks like when it's finished. And it starts with this garter bit that you can see here and here. This is what I'm knitting at the moment. And once that part's finished, you cast on new stitches, and then this lace bit you knit perpendicular to the shawl, and you attach it to the live stitches as you go. I think that's a really nice pattern. And for this pattern, she gives, I think, 5 different options of how much yarn you use and what needle size you use. Yeah, so that's really interesting. I plan on making it not too big, so I want to use just one skein. I'm not quite sure. I'm either going with the lowest number of stitches or the second lowest number. I think even with the second lowest number, I should be able to finish the shawl with one skein. And if not, I have another, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, so this is the new thing I cast on last week. Again, I had to cast on something new. We'll see whether I manage a week at some point without casting on something new. But I just had to try and knit one of those new colors that I got by from Wolldackel. Yeah, So that's all I knit and crocheted last week. And come to think of it, I only knit, I didn't crochet anything. That's interesting. Yeah, I've been thinking of the crochet square that I did with all the different colors, and I'm pretty sure I want to do a glittery edge around it, but I haven't started on that yet. So there's nothing to show this week. If I get to doing that next week, I'll show you next week. Yeah, but so this week is just knitting that I showed you. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!